What's up, guys? Back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why the Saints are one of the most, if not the most disrespected team in the entire NFL and one of the most slept on teams heading into this upcoming season. Now, before we go ahead and get into the video, I just want to mention that I know I'm aware that it's been a long time since I've uploaded, but in my defense, it's been really a dry spell lately because it's been July and training camp's around the corner, so now content's going to be going again. We're going to have stuff to talk about now. So expect some more content coming up soon. I'm going to have season predictions coming up. I'm thinking about doing a live stream maybe whenever I do my entire NFL season predictions on the Playoff Predictor website. So I think I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. I'm going to be doing Saints season predictions pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. But training camp just around the corner. It's actually starting tomorrow for rookies at least. They're reporting to camp on Tuesday, July the 19th. I'm recording this on Monday. Hopefully this is out by Tuesday. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why the Saints are the most underrated team heading into this season. I think this is kind of a top 5, but I'm not really listing these reasons in order. These are just kind of the 5 biggest reasons that stand out as to why the Saints are underrated. Now, you got the NFL community kind of split right now. Either the NFL community, like I'm talking about social media and stuff like that, either they're smart and they think the Saints are the most or the biggest dark horse Super Bowl contending team in the NFL, which I believe to be accurate. Or you got people that think, like Adam Rank, for example, who does the NFL season predictions every offseason, and they think that the Saints are going to go 8-9, even though the team only got better. Anyway, we're gonna get into that. Now, the first reason I want to mention, and this is actually kind of the reason that I believe that some of the people who think the Saints aren't going to be good this year, this is kind of the reason I think why they think that. They don't necessarily go out and say that, but this is one of the reasons I think is the head coaching situation. As we all know, Sean Payton stepped down from coaching this previous season after this team went 9-8, having an NFL record for most starters played in a season and having 4 different starting quarterbacks, including Ian Book, who was god-awful but also was in the most horrible situation. But that's a conversation for another day. Sean Payton stepped down as head coach, and obviously that's a huge loss because Sean Payton has been the head coach for 15 seasons, and he led the franchise to their one and only Super Bowl, as we all know. That's a huge loss, and he's been with Drew Brees all these years. Now, I think the loss of Sean Payton is a little bit overrated, and that's because of his replacement, and that's previous defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, who has been with the team since the 2015 season. He has stepped up as a defensive coordinator midway through that season. Ever since then, he's been a defensive coordinator, and you see the defense get better and better every year. He has been one of the main reasons why the team has actually gotten better, or the reason why the team got better during that 2017 through 2020 stretch was because of the defense when the Saints got Marshawn Lattimore, and they got Trey Hendrickson, Marcus Williams in the draft, and all these players. The defense kind of came together. They signed Demario Davis after the 2017 season, and the defense has been consistently one of the best in the league, and especially the last couple years, they've been a top 5 unit. The 2020 season and the 2021 season when the Saints were mid, to say the least, because they were 9-8, and the offense was terrible, obviously because of injuries. But I think the loss of Sean Payton is overrated because Dennis Allen is a perfect fit for the head coaching role. People look at Dennis Allen and they kind of just look at the stint he had with the Oakland Raiders when he was, to say the least, it didn't go very well. But with the Saints, I think this is a completely different situation. You can't really look at that at all because those Raiders teams were awful. Was he a great coach at that time? Probably not. But I think this is the best situation for Dennis Allen to succeed. And even for what it's worth, the one game he had to step up as a head coach because Sean Payton was out with COVID, he did shut out the defending Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. Now, the offense scored 9 points, yes. But that was because, like I said, the offense was injured. But Dennis Allen did his role. He still called the defense, and he held Tom Brady and the Buccaneers to 0. Not a single point. 0. Like, do you know how impressive that is? 60 minutes, 0 points. Now, Dennis Allen obviously is going to be the play caller on offense. You're probably going to see Pete Carmichael be the offensive coordinator. He's going to step up and be that offensive play caller. He's been with the team for all of these years, even dating back to 2011. He was the main play caller, I believe, during that stretch because Sean Payton actually tore his ACL during that season, and he had to coach from the coach's box at some point during that season. And you saw Pete Carmichael on the field actually calling plays, and it worked out really well. The first game he called plays, the Saints scored 62 points. So I wouldn't worry about the play calling or the head coaching situation. So that's why I believe that is an overrated an overrated aspect, an overrated reason why to overlook the Saints heading into this season. Now, the next reason I want to go into why the Saints are the most underrated team in the NFL heading into this season kind of goes into the head coaching situation. When we talked about the defense and Dennis Allen, is because the Saints are a top 5 defense still. They were a top 5 defense last season when they were in the most horrible situations on defense. You saw the Saints defense really carry the load in that 4-1 stretch last year, and probably would have been 5-0 if the COVID thing didn't happen against the Miami Dolphins. But we're not going to talk about that. The Saints are still going to be a top 5 defense, at least a top 10 defense this season. Obviously, the loss of Marcus Williams at safety hurts, but you go ahead and replace him with Marcus May, who is a really good safety. He's still recovering from that Achilles injury he suffered with the New York Jets last season, but he's also a top 10 safety, I believe. You're probably going to see him in that deep safety role. I wouldn't worry about that in any stretch at all. And Malcolm Jenkins retires. He's obviously a veteran, and he's been around the NFL for a long time, and he really knows his football. But you replace him with another veteran safety who knows what he's talking about. He's going to be a great leader for the team in Tyrann Mathieu. Obviously, he's coming home. He played his college ball at LSU. He's going to be great, to say the least, for the New Orleans Saints. He's a great fit. You're going to see him in that strong safety role. He's going to be in the box. He's going to be playing the run. He's going to be blitzing. He's even going to be dropping back in coverage, sometimes playing a kind of a sub-linebacker role in that robber when he can drop back and kind of read the quarterback's eyes and see what's going on there. That's going to be great because Tyrann Mathieu, he knows his routes. He knows what's going on around the field. He knows how to read the eyes of a quarterback. It's going to be great. And you still got Marshawn Lattimore. You got Paulson Adebo at corner. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the best nickelback in the NFL, who's obviously great against the run. You even seen him start to step up his game in terms of turnovers. He's getting picks now. He can play the run, like I said, very well. He blitzes. He's just an all-around great fit for this defense. And you might even see Alontae Taylor step in, competing for quarterback reps. And you also got Bradley Roby there if you need him. And not to mention the defensive line and the linebackers. Quan Alexander is probably not going to come back, but who knows because he came back late. He joined the team really late in the season last year before the season started, so we'll see what happens with Quan Alexander. But even then, you have Demario Davis, Pete Werner. The front seven is great. Everything that I say, if I'm going to praise the front seven, has already been mentioned, so it's not wasting any more time. Let's go ahead and go into the next reason. Now, we talked about the defense a lot as to why the Saints are the most underrated team in the NFL, so let's go ahead and talk about the offense. The main turning point last season when the Saints fell off after that 5-2 stretch was the loss of Jameis Winston when he got injured against his former team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, Trevor Siemian stepped in and won that game, but really it was the defense that sealed that win, the first win against Tom Brady with the P.J. Williams pick six at the end of it. And the Saints defense owns Tom Brady. We'll talk about that a little more later. The loss of Jameis Winston hurts more than you can imagine because Jameis, even though he was kind of a game manager, you got to realize his wide receiver situation. He had Marquez Callaway as his number one receiver. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot going for the offense. Jameis Winston was one of the brightest spots, and he really revived his career and showed some bright spots. He threw 14 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. His biggest problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was his interceptions. Obviously, he had that 30-interception season in 2019 with the Bucs, which is why the Bucs let him go and replaced him with Tom Brady. But then you saw the Saints sign Jameis Winston to be the backup to Drew Brees for a year. That year, to sit behind Drew Brees, I think did wonders for him. And even having Sean Payton for the next 2 years, obviously it's going to hurt that Sean Payton's not going to be here anymore. But I don't think that's, like I said, I think that's an overrated problem because you still got Pete Carmichael and Jameis isn't just going to go back to the Bucs Jameis, I don't think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it if I am wrong as the season goes on, but I don't think that's going to happen. Jameis is going to come back. He's already got his knee brace off. And he's looking better than ever. His ACL injury is not going to set him back this season. He's going to be better than ever. And the next reason why the Saints are the most underrated team in the NFL heading into this season kind of goes into with the quarterback and now the wide receiving situation. The Saints revamped their entire wide receiving core. They signed Jarvis Landry in the offseason to be that slot guy. That's going to be great. He's a veteran. He's from LSU. He's played a lot of football. It's going to be a great fit for the Saints. They traded up and drafted Chris Olave with the number 11 pick in the NFL draft. That's a great fit. He's going to be your deep threat. And all of this is great, but nothing even comes close to what we believe is that Michael Thomas is going to come back for this season, and the expectation is that he'll be here for training camp. Now, obviously, Michael Thomas, this has been an ongoing issue for years now. He got hurt in an injury originally happened in the Week 1 game back in 2020. So this was almost 2 years ago now he got injured. And it's just been one of those lingering injuries that's never gotten better. Obviously, he missed the entire 2021 season because he got a setback. He was going to come back. But I believe it's going to be kind of a ramp-up process during training camp. You don't risk anything too much. But if you've been seeing these videos of Michael Thomas running routes, he's been putting on his Instagram and his workout videos, he's looking good. His routes are looking a lot crisper. He's planting on that leg a lot better. And I think he's going to come back. Now, I don't know if people can say better than ever in terms of numbers because now he's going to have a lot more targets going around because you got Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry. Michael Thomas had that 149 catch season that had Offensive Player of the Year awards, and he was the best receiver in the NFL that season. The next receiver behind him was Ted Ginn Jr., who had like 30-some catches. He was probably the worst wide receiver 2 in the league that year. So obviously his numbers are probably going to go down, but his impact cannot be understated. Because if he's even close to the player that he was, even just 80% Michael Thomas is a top 10, top 5 receiver in the NFL. So if you got Michael Thomas coming back, even if he's on like an average day, he's not playing that great, you're going to have Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave having great looks. And not to mention, you still have Deontay Harris at the number 4 spot. You got Marquez Callaway and Traquan Smith at the 4, 5, and 6. That's insane. So even if you do have something happen to Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, or Jarvis Landry, those 3 receivers, and just think about that. Those were our 3 starting receivers last season. Now they're all in the 4, 5, and 6 spot. That's great depth. And they're still going to be getting snaps. I mean, just because they're not going to be in the starting lineup doesn't mean they're not going to be getting snaps. They're still going to get their playing time. You're still going to see Deontay Hardy. Sorry, because he did change his last name. He's still going to be getting reps at wide receiver. He's still going to be going deep, running deep routes. You're still going to probably see Traquan Smith in the blocking game. Same with Marquez Callaway, but they're still going to be getting their reps. And since they're not going to be having to fill the need of the loss of Michael Thomas, they're not going to be having the pressure on them to go out and get 100 yards or get 80 yards, 75 yards or something to be a huge X factor or an impact in the game because they have all these wide receivers, to work with. And that's huge. And you got Jameis Winston, obviously, under the helmet. Trevor Siemian just wasn't getting it done. He was just a game manager, to say the least. It just wasn't elevating the team. Jameis Winston is the type of quarterback that when he's playing at his best, he can elevate the team. He's got a great arm. He's got a cannon. He's got a great deep ball. He can manage the offense really well. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's got that LASIK surgery that people don't talk about after that 2019 season. He actually sees the field now. I'm not worried about his interceptions being a problem. And I believe the Saints are going to be one of the greatest passing teams in the NFL this season, even if Alvin Kamara misses time, which I believe if he does, it'll be a 6-game suspension max. We'll probably talk about that a little more as the preseason unfolds and we get closer to camp because I think he does have his court date pretty soon, so we'll see if anything gets resolved there. But even if Alvin Kamara misses time, I think Jameis Winston and the revamped Saints wide receiver core is going to be a problem next season for opposing defenses. I think the Saints are going to be a top 10 offense and a top 10 passing offense next season. And I think Jameis Winston and the Saints wide receivers and everything is in one of the best situations to succeed. So they're going to be a problem this upcoming season. Now, I've kind of stretched this video a little longer than I wanted to, but what can I say? There's just so many reasons why the Saints are going to be a problem next year. And there's one more reason that I want to discuss when it comes to the division and conference opponents as to why the Saints are going to be a problem next season, and that's that the Saints own the Buccaneers, and the Saints have a serious shot to compete for the NFC South title. Because keep in mind, even last year when the Saints went 9-8, and they had a 5-game losing streak at some point in that when they had Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill starting at quarterback, and a lot of defensive players and offensive players were banged up during that stretch, including Alvin Kamara, who missed 4 games or 5 games. No, he missed 4 games last year. The Saints still beat the Bucks twice last year. They beat him with Trevor Siemian and they beat him with Taysom Hill. And they beat him with no Sean Payton. So, if the Saints could do that twice last year, I think they can do it twice again. Now, could this be the year the Saints split with the Bucks? Sure. I mean, I think this streak is probably bound to end eventually against the Bucks because it's just insane. Obviously, there was that one playoff loss, but the Saints really shot themselves in the foot in that game. If the Saints just take care of business, they can beat the Bucks twice or at least split with them again. Now, obviously, since they're Saints and Bucks are division opponents, they're going to have very similar schedules. They all play the AFC North and the NFC West. So that's really tough schedules. And we'll kind of go into that as I do my season predictions. I'm going to do Saints season predictions pretty soon and NFL season predictions, but that's for another time. The Saints and Bucks are going to be neck and neck, I believe, for the division. It's really going to come down to those 2 games. If they split, it's going to come down to conference record, and obviously we don't know how the tiebreakers go. But if the Saints can split, or just at least split with the Bucks, they can put themselves in a really good position to win the NFC South title. But really, the NFC South title isn't what's most important. What's most important is to get in the playoffs. Now, obviously, if you win the division, that's great because you get a home playoff game and stuff like that. But even just making the playoffs is huge, and I really do think the Saints are going to at least be a wild card team. If the Bucks do end up winning the division, I fully expect the Saints to make the playoffs. And the Saints, the Bucks aren't just a sure shot to win this division. The Saints are going to be there till the very end, I believe, to win this division. I think they would have been last year if they were just somewhat healthy. So those are just 5 reasons why the Saints are the most underrated team in the NFL. I could talk all day. There's so many more reasons. We can talk about the offensive line and how the loss of Teron Armstead isn't as bad as people think. We talk about just even Will Lutz coming back with kicking problems. We all saw what happened last year, like the Tennessee Titans loss, for example, when Brian Johnson missed those 2 extra points, which cost us the game. And just one win is the difference in making the playoffs and not making the playoffs last year. It just didn't go our way. But like I said, I don't have to go into that. I kind of did. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far, I didn't think I could stretch out I didn't really want to stretch out the video as long as I did. But there's just too many reasons why the Saints are the most underrated team in the NFL. Training camp is starting today because I believe I'm going to be uploading this on Tuesday. So we'll be seeing rookies report today, and veterans are reporting the following Tuesday, which is July 26th. So we'll have some more stuff to talk about there. Preseason is just around the corner, so I'm going to be having some videos on preseason. I'm going to have a preseason pregame recaps, postgame recaps. Going to be treating it like the season's starting. Now, it's not going to be as serious, obviously, but I'm going to be making some videos. There's going to be a lot more content going on. There's stuff to be excited about, and football season is really close because it's training camp, and that's how you know it's about to be football season. We have stuff to talk about. Get excited. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything you want to see. What do you think about that live stream idea for that NFL season predictions? I'll probably have to figure out something, how to work my laptop into streaming there, because I don't want to... Yeah, I want you to see the screen if I do my predictions. So let me know what you guys think about that. I think it's a great idea. Any suggestions, just let me know. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.